untoasted, and that's how it started.
This might be the highest attendance we've ever had on Zoom, just so everyone knows.
Nice to see everyone.
Oh
Good
yeah.
morning.
Good morning.
Hello,
Good morning.
everyone.
Good morning.
Good
Hi,
morning.
hi, hi.
Hello.
Morning.
Oh, lots of
Hi.
people we know, lots of new
Morning.
faces.
Yeah.
Welcome to the pump. Um, our deepest apologies. The tech stress is real sometimes, and it got us down. So just thank you. It's really anybody that's been here for a while knows that's not our style. So just thanks for understanding and for showing up again today. And based on your comments, it sounds like it worked out a lot for many of you to be here today. I'm seeing Bob nod, yeah, and
Yep.
Mellie, what's up, girl? Adam and Ketch are still jumping in. We're seeing your chat blowing up. I love this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
And
for coming.
I'm here.
Yeah, Adam's here.
Wait, when
I'm
did you
Right.
jump? Okay. Adam's like, ma'am,
Self.
ma'am. So I think the screen opened up and I didn't see it, um, but yeah, I know Ketch is on a mountain somewhere, so he's probably running to like a chalet to get service.
He's
Oh,
actually
he's.
allegedly running through Heathrow right now.
Ooh.
Oh, it's the
Daughter,
can't.
daughter in tow. He might have been a little sick on his first flight to Catch has been in Europe and is flying
Yeah.
back today.
Poor
Um,
thing.
Oh,
so
bless
we'll
him.
see. Yeah.
So this is his Home Alone moment. We all watched it a few weeks ago. Right, he's
Right.
running.
Well,
Yeah.
he
Hopefully, he
has
doesn't leave
his
one of them behind.
he has
I
his
left
children
my
with him.
coffee in my car. Is it
Oh,
Oh
still
no.
outside?
I love
That's
Zoom.
Find the
magic.
coffee. Find the coffee.
Yes. It's vital to life.
Um, Adam, do you want to kick things off, buddy?
I just want to say thanks to everyone showing up here. As Jen
Always.
was saying, my sincere apologies for tech issues. It's fun when you try to host a Zoom and you can't host a Zoom. Makes it a little difficult. But this time is a
Um, Friendly reminder, if you're not Adam, can you mute yourself right now?
Sorry, guys. I'm trying to find who's talking and mute
Yeah, the
them.
mute all.
I know. It was fun because Noah muted me and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
I just needed to quiet the noise really quick.
Yeah, so this
Yeah.
time is for all of you, right? And we wanted to bring the whole team here as a chance. One, it's nice for all of us to get together when we can make it happen. And when we have this opportunity is a chance for us to talk about fitness, nutrition, things that are standing in your way, especially as you start the new year. And then we'll do the bread and butter. We'll eventually get to the form checks and like Coach Nick work his magic of making everyone move and lift better. But as long as we have the squad here, if Ketchell's able to join us, I can, pretend to be Ketchell and just act stupid. But you guys, uh, this is your time. So if there's ever something you wanted to ask about anything in the realm of the pump, please do so. And then just know that uh, the new year, I think, is for us. It's always it's mixed feelings because I love having everyone new here. I love the fresh start. I love everyone's energy. And at the same time, I wish that everyone had that energy at all times, right? There's nothing special about January 1st or 7th or 9th or whatever day it is. But, we get here and people see hope springs eternal. And I hope that no matter what happens throughout the course of the year, whether it's a month from now, 6 months from now, 9 months from now, the same energy that you feel right now is the same energy that you can find at any point of time because it's not dependent on the calendar. But as long as we're here and as long as we have those vibes, let's work with it. I already see a question popping up. Any
Yeah.
pump club meetings in the works? We'll get to all the questions, but just because I see this, yes, we're
Yeah.
going to be having pump club meetups. The goal here, I was just working on schedule with Ketchel and Noah had been sending me some ideas as well, will be to do at least one per month in a different city every
Yeah.
so we're going to be all over, and that will be outside the U.S. as well. I can tell you that the Arnold Classic is going back to the UK this year, and without a doubt, we will be there. So that's at the end of March. So in March there will be two events. There will be the Arnold Classic in Columbus. There'll be the Arnold Classic in the UK. We will be there for both of those. We will be doing once again Austria in June. So for those of you who were there last year, it was incredible. For those of you who weren't, it was incredible. Everyone's deadlifting in Arnold's childhood backyard. It was special, but at a minimum, we want to do at least one per month, different city, and if we can squeeze in two, given schedules, we're going to make it happen. But seeing all of you getting together, bringing the community together, because I think the best thing isn't us getting to meet all of you; it's all of you getting to meet one another and the bonds and friendships and connections that you can make, and realizing how much these friendships and connections are really being created online and that translates to in person is something that is, for lack of better words, it's magical, you guys. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Amazing. I'm going to facilitate that order of questions, and I'm putting a little, if you haven't seen the chat blowing up yet, I'm putting a little message there. So if you don't feel like raising your hand and talking, that's totally okay. You can type it here and we will try to monitor those. But I'll just kind of call out your name based on the order I've seen the hands go up, and then just go for it. Okay. Let's get through as many questions as we can. And I'm just going to start going. So John P., right when we opened the room, your hand was up. So this better be good.
Well, I have a doctor's appointment in about 25 minutes, so I have to go to that. So that's why I put it up right away. I guess my question is, because I'm going to plan on coming to the Arnold Sports Festival, and I'm going to try and PR again. Is there, I mean, other than the basics of like diet and sleep, when you're setting yourself up to try to go for like a PR, is there a science in terms of how you should manage your workouts that week?
Yes.
To
I know where this is going.
Yeah, be 100% when you're going for that PR on Friday or Saturday.
I'm going to let Nick take this because I want to talk about the little setup here is that, as you know, from the app, Catch has been working on trying to hit new PRs, and Catch gets obsessed, much to Nick's dismay, with the number as opposed to the progress. But this has been a learning experience for Catch, someone who, is pretty strong about the right approach of when you're trying to, set a new PR. And admittedly, he'll be the first to tell you he's messed it up quite a few times and he's improving. So I'm going to let Nick take over here because he's been guiding Catch through the process of trying to lead up to that point. And especially right now where we're 2 months out right about. So this is a good time to be having this conversation.
Yeah. So testing is a thing, just like competing in anything. You learn to compete, you practice, but game day is a whole different set of, I don't want to say rules, but it's a whole different set of like energy. It's a whole different environment. Things change, not that they change for you, but they change for your perception, because now you've been walking on a painted line on the road, which is easy because there's no elevation. All of a sudden, when you go to test, you're now walking on a line, that same line, but it's 100 foot up in the air. So your margin for error is lower. Why? Because our effort is at its highest. Bar path needs to be correct. Form needs to be correct. We shouldn't be doing anything that's changing. And what I mean by learning to test this past, even though Catch failed, we had a whole lot of improvement on his lead up to testing. It was a lot of neural work. So Catch needs to learn how to test. And what that means is when we're talking about sleep, recovery, and ramping up into a PR, you go through what's called typically a peak phase, and then you go into a deload phase. And that deload phase is what adds to the recovery, lets your nervous system kind of restore back to its full potential before you absolutely dump it on the testing. It's why I have a deload after a contest too, right? Because I just asked the most of my nervous system. So you hit the nails on the head, and this is a really, really good question, like Adam said, because this doesn't change for anyone. There's person to person, how you handle it's going to vary, but that there needs to be a procedure in place so you're not going for PRs willy-nilly, dug in middle of a program, or finish your program, immediately go for a PR the next day. You're setting yourself up for failure. So the longer you do this, the more you have to plan out when and what you're going to test. Not only because the risk factor goes up because you're getting stronger, everything costs something, and the stronger you get, the higher the tax you got to pay. It's just the way of the beast of strength training. And Meanwhile, example, when you deadlift 300, odds are you're still so new that you can kind of get right back to training the next day. When that gets up to 600, 700, you're popping blood vessels. You've got bloodshot eyes. That shit hurts. So you've got to manage how we lead up to this, how we come down from it, and then resume training also. And I wanted to make sure I threw that in there. So yes, when you go to PR at the Pump Club, I want you to take a week leading up to it, and I don't want you to not lift, but I want you to bring down your effort to like 50%. Like it should be speed work. You should be practicing your setup. I like to throw in clusters. Say, I'm assuming you want to go for like deadlift or everything.
Well, last year we only deadlifted on one. So, I mean, you only tried to PR on one thing. So,
So let's just say deadlift, for example.
You want bear?
You want to be
You want
practicing your
simple?
setup, your walk up, making
All right.
sure that that is the same, because what happens
right.
under pressure,
If
we
you
lose
complain again, we're going to
fiber
watch bear.
at a drastic rate. So when we add that pressure to ourselves, because the only thing creating that pressure is how we respond to the environment. There's nothing life or death about this. I've seen some people walk up like it's casual day and smash a world-class lift. That's just how they're wired. Some people need that high arousal. Some people too much arousal, which we found out too high of an arousal level works against them. So we need to find that sweet spot for you where you can walk up, execute, but have that elevation to give you a little bit more oomph, if that makes sense. I love pressure. It wakes me up, keeps me sharp. I don't want to say negligent. I get a little flat when the pressure's not there. So figure out what exactly you want to do. Adam, I don't know the plans for
I
what.
just wanted to clarify when you said like the week before dropped by 50%. So I'm just making up numbers. So if I were deadlifting 300 2 weeks before, you're saying like in the lead up, like drop it down to 150. Just work us on form and speed.
Whatever your 1 rep max is,
Right.
your speed work shouldn't be anything more than 50% as a rule
Right.
of thumb. Because the reason why we're doing speed work is speed generates power, but speed is also in the right format, it's non-taxing. So when we are doing that at a weight where we have good mind body connection, a weight that we don't have to think about, we're moving it fast. A, our confidence is going up. B, we're not taxing our nervous system. So general rule of thumb, 50% on a deload keeps you right where you need to be. So where you're moving, you keep the knife sharp. So training is the sharpening phase. Sharpen. Deload is your honing stone phase. That's where you really put the fine-tuned touches on the blade. We're going to work on that technique. We're going to drill that walk up. We're going to do all these things that have nothing to do with weight and keep it nice and sharp. So when we walk in and we send it where our nervous system hasn't had a week of doing nothing and we're flat, but we've also gotten something out of it on the neural side.
Amazing. Totally. Thank you.
Last
Coach.
question. So, and I'm 45, not 25. So, how many days rest? Like, when would you say my last workout should be? If it's Friday.
Well, your last workout, like, say, I mean, it doesn't really matter age when we're talking to this because it's going to be very person to person.
Right.
I basically have 2 full days off before I compete, right?
Okay.
So it could be your 2 days before is a lot of like plyometrics, dynamics, stretching. You're not even really putting weight on the bar at that point. You're moving. Like 50% kind of ends. Say we do the deadlift on Saturday. The last time you really have any sort of weight in your hand will probably be somewhere between Monday and Wednesday.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Coach. Moving along,
Thank
Franzi and Tomasz, you guys are up. Go ahead and unmute yourselves.
Hello, happy
You've got 2 for 1. Hi.
Hello.
Do you, by the way, we have both two questions. Is it okay if Thomas is starting? Do you want to start? And I am asking
Yeah.
then. Okay.
Okay, yeah, we'll move through quickly. Cool.
Okay, I have a question on body composition or recomposition. In the last year, I was trying to lose fat and it worked. I lost around 25 pounds and dropped to a body fat around 17%. But now I'm wondering about when should I start to stop? Let's say my height is around 5 feet and 10 inches, but around I'm weighing 160 around pounds. And now I'm asking myself, isn't there a point where I get where I lose too much weight? I think I can lose more body fat, but also I want to gain a bit more muscle. So I haven't seen there any article about that. When I should start to switch to, let's say, maintaining weight or building it up, and what are the guidelines for it?
Adam Bornstein, you love this question. It's yours.
I love this question. So the real answer here, the short answer is no one can tell you, right, what you want your goal to be, right? Only you can determine the the weight, the size, the look, the aesthetic that you want to accomplish. What I will say is that unless you have a lot of weight to lose and you're trying to get yourself to a healthier weight, in which case you can prolong a fat loss period because your body is trying to get right into a position where you can accomplish better health. Most fat loss phases you want to eventually put an end to, and either try to focus on gaining muscle or just maintenance. A lot of people kind of frown on maintenance. I think maintenance is the holy grail, where you get to the point where you are more refining and you're not even worried about the weight on the scale. You're trying to make adjustments either in the gym or to your appearance. So if you've been losing a lot of weight, and you said about 160 pounds at 5'10", from a body weight to height standpoint, right? And again, you have to choose what you want to be. I don't see that there's more weight that you want to lose, right? That's pretty light for a given height, definitely in a healthy weight range. So at that point, you can kind of shift to maintenance, or you can shift into a muscle building phase. And I think a lot of times when people desire to look a certain way, and you'll have to tell me if this is what it is. Is it more that you want to visibly look different? Is like what is creating the question about what you do next?
Yeah, I want to lose some more fat, but also I want to gain a bit of muscle.
When you say you want to lose fat, why? So you're 160 pounds at 5'10", right? You're not heavy, right? Like you're
Yeah,
taller than me and you weigh
correct.
less than me, and I consider myself pretty light. Um, is there a reason when you say lose fat, what does that mean?
As I said, my percentage, if it's exactly or not, is another thing, but around 17%.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, it can drop a bit more,
Yeah.
but yeah, the weight thing, I thought, nah, I don't have to lose more weight. I should think about maintaining or maybe building up some weight, but then in form of good muscle building, if I can say it like that.
Yes. At this point, you are in a prime region for recomposition. So recomposition is when your body weight might not change at all or very slightly, right? And you are going to be shifting your ratio of weight to more muscle and less percentage of body fat. And the leaner you get, the harder this becomes, right? People who are super lean,
Yeah.
it's very difficult for them to, right, gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. People who are roughly, I will say, in the 12-ish to 20% or plus, right, have this ability for body recomposition. And this just means that, right, the obsession is less about like cutting calories, cutting calories, cutting calories, and it's more about eating enough to fuel your training so that training intensity can increase so that you are able to build that lean tissue, right? Where you don't need a massive caloric surplus in order to gain muscle, you need a really strong training stimulus. But the more that you cut calories, the harder it is for you to push yourself in the gym, the harder it is for you to recover, the harder it is for you to sleep well, the harder it is for you to be resistant against stress or breakdown or immune system. So the idea then here for you is I would be focusing on either getting into a maintenance mode or eating at a slight caloric surplus, nothing crazy, where the focus is how can I eat more so that I can train harder? And the harder that you were trained, that is what allows you, right, to build more muscle tissue. And at the same time, right, if you are able to push with a higher intensity, it also can increase your ability to burn fat as well. So I would stop trying to cut calories at this point, go into maintenance or slight surplus, and really focus on how is my output from a training standpoint, because that's what's going to determine far more than the calories, right? It's how hard are you training and what is your output?
And what are the differences in the nutrition tracker? So
The
when you go to
amounts will
maintenance
change.
but can you explain it a little bit?
What would
In
you
what
like to know?
direction, if I go for maintenance or even go to build up?
Yeah, so it's just going to be right. Maintenance is keeping you at the 160 pounds, right? The gain is going to be that you're setting a goal even higher than that. And then the servings that we recommend, right? Everything is based on where you are now and where you want to be. So if you're trying to lose, the tracker is adjusting to you and we're seeing your consistency and we're seeing your results. So if you're not consistent, we're going to try and make you be more consistent. If you're not seeing results and headed in the right direction, after a certain period of time, we're going to make adjustments to get you going in the right direction. So if the goal now is maintenance, right, we're going to give is slightly increase the amount that you are eating to fuel training to help with the body recomposition. If the goal is to gain, right, if you're at 160 and you're trying to go to 165, that weight isn't coming from nowhere, right? So we are going to gradually increase the amount of calories, see if the scale is going up. If it is, we're not going to touch it, right? The goal of adjusting diet is to make as few changes as possible until it is necessary. So all this is just a serving size manipulation to give you the fuel that you need to either push training or to get you closer to the goal weight that you want to accomplish.
Thank you very much. And is it the servings, are they going up in protein or more in carbs?
It's going to depend on the situation. So it can be across all three, right? Again, this is about where you are right now, what you are trying to accomplish, and then it can be protein. It can, right? So protein in general, right? We create everything has a range. The amount of protein, the amount of carbs, the amount of fat, everything has a range. And we don't want to necessarily start you out at the top of the range because we want to always give room to make adjustments, right? This is the mistake that a lot of people make is where they make this huge change and then when they hit a plateau, right? There's nothing else to add or remove. You always want to give yourself room to continually make adjustments. You are most likely initially going to see if you're going on a gain, an increase in carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is your body's preferred fuel source, right? It's that doesn't mean other type of diets can't work, but people who are fueled up on carbs tend to train much better. There was even an item in today's Pump Club. I'm always writing so many newsletters at the same time, but today's Pump Club about people who were it was professional race walkers, you guys, which I didn't know was a thing, but they are professional race walkers. And they were comparing people who are on a high carb diet and a low carb diet, and they were hyping them up on caffeine. And caffeine increased everyone's performance. But those on the high carb diet performed far better on every single metric compared to those on the low carb diet. And the reason is simple carbohydrates is the preferred fuel source of your muscles.
Okay, thank you very much, Aidan.
Yeah.
Okay, now I would like
Franza,
to ask.
yeah, you had a question too. Yeah, go.
Yes. So two questions. One, the first is also about food, and the second one is about physical, about my body, to be honest. So first, so Adam, maybe where we were talking about the protein stuff from Thomas. So just to let you know, we do really everything together. We have the Pump app. We are working out together. We are building our meals together. So it's very helpful and supporting. And here's a question. So we love really everything in eating proteins, and we are also we are a lot of researching about food, which protein should we take and in how much amount. And when we are coming to red meat, what would you recommend? Because, red meat is sometimes really, they say, okay, it is building cancer and it's not really good if you eat too much. But we are on a point where we really do also a lot of vegan food involving in our daily meals. But I am also questioning a lot, is the vegan, for example, 20 grams of protein vegan food the same as 20 grams of protein meat to build really the real muscle? And would you recommend really to lower red meat in terms of, maybe getting cancer in some years? What do you think, and how do you, what do you think about it?
You guys love asking very complicated and nuanced questions. So in order to try and be respectful for everyone's questions, always when we do other like Q&As when it's in the app and I'm not, it's not on everyone's time, right? It's time irrespective. Please follow up if I don't give you enough answer, because the brevity of some of these is more about knowing that we have a lot of people asking questions and all of you are giving us our time. But so red meat and cancer, there is an association with this, but it's very complicated, right? Because it's hard to factor out the different types of red meat that people are eating, as well as other lifestyle variables. So some people consider that red meat can be a carcinogen, but like anything, the poison is in the dose. Here's the way that I look at red meat, right? The biggest issue with red meat tends to be saturated fat. And from a saturated fat standpoint, people who consume too much saturated fat can increase their LDL cholesterol. If LDL cholesterol gets too high, it means that you are a higher risk of some sort of cardiovascular event or some type of heart issue. If you have high LDL cholesterol, does it mean you're going to have a cardiovascular event? No. Does it mean you're going to get cancer? No. Everything is about probabilities and risk profile. So I eat red meat, but I also get my blood work done to understand, are things that I'm doing dietarily putting me in a higher area of risk. So if someone eats a lot of red meat, but all of their biomarkers, their blood looks good, their LDL is low and in a healthy range, right? They don't have ApoB, which is a marker that is linked to a lot of different health risks. If that is in a healthy range, triglycerides are in a healthy range, what you are eating is not affecting you on the inside. It's why it's so important for people to at least once or twice a year get their blood panels, look at things, because everything else is just guesswork. It's kind of the same way they think about supplementation. Like some supplements can be great, but if you're not deficient in anything, you're either putting yourself at risk or you're just blowing your money because you're giving yourself something that your body does not need. It's a general rule of thumb, right? I would say you can probably have red meat about 1 to 3 times per week, again, pending these decisions, so that it's not inherently bad, but it can be more risk producing. And then the type of red meat you have as well matters, right? If you have a lower saturated fat cut of meat. It's why like we love Maui Nui, the venison that we recommend, right? It's got about 1 gram of saturated fat. That's like going ahead and eating like one of the white meats, right? It's not much saturated fat at all, so it's not going to be problematic. So all cuts of red meat are not the same, right? A lean cut of game meat is far different than a delicious fatty ribeye, which is delicious, but from a nutrient profile, very, very different things. So I would say that the most important thing to do is to understand what's happening with your own body, and then based on your risk profile, you determine whether you want to eat more or less red meat. Again, not all bad, but some people are at more risk and they might need to cut back more. In terms of comparing the vegan proteins to the animal-based proteins or the dairy-based proteins, uh, all protein is good because at the end of the day, you're looking at total amount of protein, right? It's not the amount of protein you get in a meal, it's the total amount of protein that you get relative to your goal. And there are ranges to this, right? Inactive people need about 1.2 grams to 1.6 grams per kilogram of goal body weight, 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram, right? The more active you are, you can go all the way up to about 2.2 grams per kilogram of goal body weight. But after 1.6, you start seeing diminishing returns. So really active people tend to get anywhere between like 1.6 to 2.2, but you can go down to as low as 1.2 grams per kilogram. It's not apples to apples because vegan or plant-based proteins, all proteins are made up of amino acids. They have less of the essential amino acids, and certain amino acids in particular, one being leucine. Leucine is one of the branch chain amino acids, which plays a key role in muscle building. all of these amino acids are important. The amino acids are essential amino acids are especially important because essential amino acids means your body does not produce it on your own. There are 9 essential amino acids. If you don't get it from your diet, you don't get it all proteins have all of these, but they have it in varying amounts. So if you are eating a more of a plant-based or vegan-based diet, you can still get all those amino acids, but it tends to mean two things. One, you need to eat a little bit higher quantity in order to get it because, right, the density of those essential amino acids in animal-based proteins is higher than in plant-based proteins. And then two, because plant-based proteins are usually mixed foods, right? If you're eating like a quinoa or legumes, there's not just protein in there, right? You have carbohydrates as well. So sometimes it can mean that people end up eating more calories. So it's not that the vegan-based protein is bad, not at all. I know lots of jacked vegan people. It's that you have to be more intentional with how you eat. You tend to have to mix foods, for instance, like in order to get a full amino acid profile, if you're eating beans, you need to mix it with rice because one of them is low in lysine, which is one of these essential amino acids. And then that gives you the complete nutrition profile. So it's not a bad thing. You might just need to eat more or you need to supplement, right? This is where like protein powders and things like that come in handy because those are usually fortified with all the essential amino acids that you need to fill in the gap. But everyone should be eating more plants in general. It's just that if you want to give yourself enough protein, sometimes you need to eat more quantity of food, whereas the animal-based proteins are very, very protein dense, right? You can get a 3-4 ounce piece of steak or chicken. You're gonna get a lot more protein than 3 ounces of beans.
Yeah, of course. Okay, thank you so much. And my second question, as I said, is about my physical stuff. So first, last year I did an MRI in my neck because I had very, very pain in my neck, and they found that I have a herniated disc in between my fourth and fifth disc. But every doctor was recommending me to, of course, weightlifting and do it because, of course, I have to get or strengthen my body and my back. And here comes my question because this is really coming and impacting me when I'm doing my PRs, for example, with a barbell deadlift, and I have my barbell really here lying on the neck, and I want to I want to lift heavier. And the first time Thomas was also on my side, I got a visual disturbance. I'm not sure if you have any experiences made or some of the guys here in the room too, but this is really preventing me to get much more higher and to lift more. And I have really sometimes fear. I know this is also a very difficult question, but my point is I'm really so, how can I say, so what would you say to me? So he's really sometimes looking at me and say, hey, you can more, and I can't really do more and lift more because I have the strength. But this is, do you have any recommendation?
May I take this one, Adam?
Yeah.
May I take this one, Adam?
I was actually going to defer to you and Nick since he works with all the adaptive,
great.
but I want both of you to chime in here.
Yeah, I'll be really quick. I personally have this exact same injury. Oh my gosh, take me off full screen my hair today. I'm kidding. I had the exact same injury, my dear. It was 4 or 5. Yep. It was. I was 18 millimeters. Usually they recommend surgery at between 7 and 8.
Oh.
Right. So I understand. I was a full-time CrossFit competitive athlete. Your body, when it talks to you, we need to listen, you guys.
Yeah.
Pain like that, a visual disturbance, that's your body's request for change. It's saying nope, I'm at my limit. And I had physicians, and we always, guys, we are not doctors. Work with people that you trust and that you like to find a care plan. But I had 2 doctors say, yeah, let's go in there and we're going to cut it out. We'll take out the bulge and then you can go back. And then my mentor, who's a chiropractor, says, yeah, but if we take out that disc, we've never gotten to the root of the pattern and position that's creating the problem in the first place. Yeah. So my answer is back off. I took a step back. I relooked at body position. I looked at the way my traps were supporting my neck. I looked at the way my chest was tight. I looked at and in CrossFit in those days, it was to push overhead to get a rep, guys. What's a rep? They make you shove your neck through, right? So I've got a huge load over my head. I'm creating this position. And so I changed my movement patterns. I cleaned up my bar path. I took on Pilates to create balance in my muscle tissue. I did chiropractic and like acupuncture to kind of bring fresh blood to the area and heal. So my point is, if you guys have that kind of a disturbance, especially in your spine, I know you can do more. I think your husband's right. He's like, you can do more. Yes, I'm sure you can, but first you must heal. Our goal here, guys, is forward progress without pain, without injury. So my recommendation is to back off, to heal that space. And then I'm stronger than ever. I squatted 225 with Coach Nick this fall. And I hadn't done that when I was doing that. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not an end. It's just a small detour for you to be really at your best. I'll let Nick weigh in too.
Thank you.
Herniated disc is far from a nail in the coffin. Much like Jen, my entire C spine's crushing my spinal cord. My entire lumbar's herniated. My L5S1's totally torn.
Wow.
And I pull upwards close to 800 pounds on a deadlift off the floor when everything is behaving. I deal with a ton of nerve pain. With that being said, I do a ton of sports PT with a sports physical therapist. I do a ton of sports massage. I aggressively attack the injury outside the gym. My stuff, a lot of my stuff, the damage is permanent because it happened so long ago before lifting. The nerve pain I'm going to deal with for the rest of my life because I refuse to get cut open for spinal surgery unless I can't walk. But with that being said, listening to your body is 100% the course to start the recovery process. Your first thing I would do is get in with some sort of sports, and notice I'm saying sports physio, because they're going to want to treat this with movement versus a physio. A lot of the physios that I encountered are doctors, it's stop, no, don't. And I'm like, yeah, you can kiss my ass. I'm gonna. So you need to start doing some research in the area. And where are you guys at?
Germany. Düsseldorf.
Have plenty of strongman friends that have been through the ringer of injury in Germany. Sunny, she's a legend. Especially on stones. I'll tell you what, write a service ticket to and get my email. And what I'll do is I will reach out to some of my connections in Germany on the sports side and see who they go to, what their recommendations are, people that know the lay of the land. So it will eliminate some of the time of you bouncing around because not every shoe fits. So getting with a sports physio and getting a physical assessment, finding your range of motions, where the pain is. Because from then, once you have that, now you have an operating window of where you can move and lift that doesn't hurt in the meantime of recovering the injury and rehabbing. With that, a lot of them will have you get imagery done so we can see exactly where, how bad the bulge is, and build a plan further off of that. So instead of passively recovering and waiting for it to go away and just backing off, you're attacking the shit out of this injury. And we're forcing, because blood heals. So we train, we get blood in, we get blood out. Blood heals. That's the nutshell of it. And strengthening all those little muscles around it. You're going to likely be doing a lot of isometrics, a lot of tempo stuff. You're going to run into lifts where they just absolutely humble you with like a kilo. Let's get you started on getting in with some sort of physician to assess, because we don't want to play with the neck.
Yeah, of course.
Then you got to remember where the neck sits, right? It's the pathway from here to the rest of our body. So it's a really finicky spot because it can disrupt everything below it.
Yeah.
Whereas typically, if it's in the lower back, it disrupts. It's half your body. It typically disrupts. So we need to treat that accordingly. But I don't want you to. I understand the lifting in fear, and that's a miserable place to be. It mentally shuts you down on potential weight movement.
Exactly.
So once we get you confident and comfortable, then we start pushing the weight.
Okay. And
Thank
just
you,
one last
Nick.
question.
I'm gonna keep us moving, guys. I'm so sorry. We've got so
Yes,
many hands up and I want to keep us moving. Thank you
worries.
guys so much.
Thank you.
Ryan Steele, you're up next, but I do want to mention there was a question here that Adam, this comes up a lot in the app in regards to the tracker. James wrote how he has been using milk logging as a macro. But I saw it actually should be listed as a caloric beverage. Can you explain why that's important in the tracker so we're on the same page?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people, like with so many things, right, end up overthinking what we're doing. The tracker is set up in a way to give you visibility, right? If you are going ahead and logging 4 caloric beverages a day and you're still moving closer to your goal and you see the little red apple on it, don't worry about the red apple. You are seeing success, right? The tracker is designed so that you don't freak out, so that you're able to bend rules to your own personal needs, assuming you can still see success. Here's why it's problematic, though. The beauty of the tracker is it doesn't allow you to hide, right? If you were taking the milk and how much you were drinking, and you're like, oh, this is a serving of protein, this is a serving of fat, this is a serving of carbs. When you need to make adjustments, when those 2-week check-ins come in, right? You're like, oh, I've been hitting my protein, I've been hitting this. It's very, very hard to tell. Same thing for the free choice meals. If you have 3 free choice meals and you end up losing a bunch of weight, are you going to be like, no, I shouldn't have had those free choice meals? No, you're going in the right direction. The tracker is designed to give you visibility so that you have options of what you can adjust. So if you are drinking a lot of milk, right, and you're drinking it every single day or drinking it multiple times in a week, and then you find that you are being consistent outside of certain things with the plan, but you're not seeing results. The tracker's job is to show you different areas where you can make adjustments. And the more that you take these things that are meant to be categorized, the categorized is not to make you feel bad, as much as I understand that people don't like the red apples. It's allow you to have the freedom and access and visibility of what you could potentially change. And you might choose to keep the milk and keep having your beverages. Or you might say, well, I had like 7 servings of beverages. What if I cut it down to 4 or to 2, right? You don't have to necessarily go cold turkey. The logging is to make it easier to make adjustments. It's not to make you feel bad. It's not to hold you to some rigid rule. And that's why, whether it's free choice, because you can take a free choice meal and you can break it into proteins, carbs, and fats. You could take any beverage and do the same thing. But then when it comes time to adjust, it makes it much harder for you to identify. And this is, we're working on V2 and V3 of the nutrition tracker right now. Whereas when you log foods, you'll have the ability of, like, say, inputting or taking a picture of food, and it will show you exactly what it comes to from a serving size. So there's so much of a change in the nutrition tracker that when you want to go back, we could say, oh, maybe here's a meal that you could have subbed out. Because right now you have to log that in. We want you to have even more visibility. But that's why we say to log it. It's not that it's a right or wrong. It's that it makes it easier for you to make adjustments if you're not seeing the progress that you want.
Well, and the irony, Adam, is that James even said, I'm carrying more body fat than I want. So James, maybe start logging that milk is the caloric drink and see if that body fat changes. So use that as data for you guys, not judgment, but data.
Yep.
Okay, Ryan Steele, you're up, buddy.
Good morning. Thank you for all the great information. So I, like everybody, am trying to fit in workouts during the day. And for the next 6 months, I'm basically have to work out during my lunch hour at work. And I discovered my coworkers do not appreciate me leaving power blocks in the office. So, or kettlebell. So I have recently acquired a Max Pro device, which I was very skeptical about. It's this concentric only resistance thing, up to 300 pounds resistance, and it really does feel like the resistance. So you can deadlift with it. It's great for concentric, but there is absolutely no eccentric component to it. And doing the workouts, I really feel like I'm losing a big component, and I haven't found great data to see that concentric only training really does a heck of a lot for muscle hypertrophy, just kind of injury prevention. I also have a Unitree pump, which is this 44 pounds of resistance that has eccentric and concentric resistance. So I kind of combine 2 of them for a dumbbell. So I've been doing some of the movements as a combined as, single arm or single side movements for unilateral work. But, do you guys find that would be helpful? Or trying to fit in like resistance bands, which I've snapped a few of them? Any advice from doing the I'm redoing the foundations now, but the short on time one, which is actually a great program. I really enjoy that one. I've done the foundations before, but any advice for trying to fit this in with, you know, not gimmicky devices, but this is what I have at my disposal right now without pissing off my coworkers too much.
Get new coworkers.
I've tried, but I haven't won the lottery yet. I was just, if I'm at home, I have a great home gym here, but
Yeah. I'm gonna let the other coaches weigh in as well because I think this is gonna be like a right. We're all trying to troubleshoot the situation. Doing concentric only exercise is better than doing nothing, but it's not as good as having right the eccentric phase as well. So if I'm tasked with saying don't use that and do nothing, or use it and do something, I'm always going to choose do something.
sure.
My yeah, it's hard to cobble together a workout with right different pieces of equipment, but um, if you're getting your training, and that's what I'm saying. Like if this is the situation, if this is the equipment that you have to work with, I would say some combination. I don't. What's the difference between that piece of equipment and a dumbbell? I don't understand. I have so many questions. It's still an apparatus. It's still taking up space. Yeah, that'd be my bands work as well, right? Even a single kettlebell, they won't let you use a
Yeah.
kettlebell.
Nope. So I basically I share an office, so I'm bringing my equipment with me, and I have a Go Ruck, and so I have a plate in there that I can put a 30 or a 45-pound plate in. So I'm actually great with the body weight movements because I can use that, and I have a TRX that I can use. But I really don't want to, you know, keep switching between body weight and doing resistance, you know, training at home. When I'm home on the weekend, I can use my gym with barbells and dumbbells and everything, and a cable station. But during the week, I am limited basically either bringing in these two unitary pumps. I know it sounds strange, but there's these tiny 4x4 devices that are really great, and they have motors inside and can give up to 44 pounds of resistance, and I can daisy chain them so it goes up to 88 pounds. So it's like I can have an 88-pound cable basically resistance. And I think
I would use that. Or you know, if
Yeah.
it was me, I would take a single kettlebell. I would take the rucksack with plates, and you could load. I mean, you can get a lot of loading
Uh-oh, you let him down here?
a ruck and a kettlebell,
Oh.
right? And then like you just
Hey,
take it out of the
Gonzo. You want to
office,
come
throw it
sit
in your
here?
car, whatever you know, whatever it
Come
might
sit here?
be.
Come on.
But
Huh?
these apparatus
Yeah.
seems to work as well.
Come on, Gonzo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. I want to keep it simple.
Resistance is resistance. That's the beauty of it. And right, there are so many different ways to overload it, right? If like these things start getting easier, especially on body weight, right? You can drop yourself into a nice measure of holding the bottom where like you're doing a pause. Pauses suck, right? Take any exercise and hold a pause for 3-4 seconds. And I've seen Nick do, God, what, 7-10 second eccentrics. There's so many different ways to make
10
exercise.
second eccentrics.
10 second
Eccentrics, in my opinion, are king.
There you go. Take it from a man who is far stronger than me.
So in that case, I will do the device that has both concentric and eccentric as opposed to the concentric only. Because
Yes, eccentric,
I like that.
tempo eccentrics are king, especially not only for strength development, but also just think about the concept of taking a weight that you can normally do for 10 easily. Now let's add a 4-count eccentric, and now that's a brutal 10. So you've got something tweaked or something, you can significantly lighten the load, add a 4-count eccentric, and it lowers the risk factor but keeps the effort high. And tempo concentrics have a place too. The thing is, you don't see tempo concentrics a lot in, say, the strength world, is because we want power in that part of the lift. We want the hard hitting, the acceleration once it breaks the floor to speed the rep up to finish it. But you see it a lot more in like bodybuilding and things like that for the time under tension. But eccentrics, in my opinion, they're the one you see in pretty much any strength discipline across the board.
Got it. Well, thank you. Yeah, because I've been using the bands, and the strength curve is very different with it. I used it when I used to do powerlifting. You know, I would use it when I was doing I was using the conjugate method before when I used to do powerlifting.
Love
and, you know,
conjugate.
and it was great. But if I'm not doing the bands on the bar or anything just on their own, I just haven't found that they really have the same feel as the as dumbbells, and I have to overload it, and I don't get a good pre-stretch on it, so it's really hard. I'm only getting good resistance really at the top of the when it's fully extended, and then snaps.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, guys, it's cool to be strong, but sometimes you create some problems for yourself. It's great. Ben Riley, you're up, buddy.
Hello, all. I hope you're all good. I'm having a bit of an issue, just strength progression, mostly. I have been stuck in the same place on certain lifts for quite a while now, and I'm wondering, is it a fueling issue? Because obviously I'm in quite a steep calorie deficit at all times. Obviously I'm losing a lot of weight still. I've just dropped back under 137 kilos now, so I'm cruising down. But yeah, I'm sort of stuck. I'm definitely going towards failure because I get to a point in but virtually every set where I can't hit the reps required, and I feel like I've been hanging out there in that range with that weight for a very long time. So I'm wondering if I've got anything to help me get past that.
I'm willing to bet that fuel is definitely a big factor. Because with both strength and size, it needs fuel. So I don't know the ins and outs of your nutrition, but I know you're losing a shitload of weight. You might be getting to the point where your body weight's getting low, and in that deficit, your strength's getting to a point where it's like, hey, we want to grow, but we need more gas in the tank. And I can't say that for certain because I'm not, in the weeds of exactly what you're putting in your body and everything. So I'd be willing to bet that fuel is part, if not the main issue. Because you submit videos, you work hard like that. I don't see that being the main issue. It could be a matter of changing with this deficit, potentially changing how you apply your training for a period of time, where our training is more body composition focused than strength focused, and then we get more. And what I mean by that is like, okay, let's not maximize your strength when I'm in a big calorie deficit, right? Because you're two opposites there. They're doing two different things.
Yes.
Whereas you could run something that's a little bit more your bodybuilder-esque, to keep the calorie burn, keep the volume up, and then come back around to really pushing strength when you get that when you get into that recomposition phase and you can start getting your fuel back. Because if you're underfed, that then over long term correlates to under recovered. And when you're under recovered, you don't sleep well. Then you don't train well. Then you get hurt. So it might just be a time where you need to kind of pivot training a little bit and then come back to focusing on, I want to be an animal.
I do.
Very
good.
I want to jump in with you, Ben, because there was actually some comments here with a lot of the women regarding like, I've lost the fat I want. Now I want to gain some more muscle. I'm afraid to put calories up and gain the weight back. Guys, there is a really, it's a more of an emotional corner of our minds where we're like, I'm on this weight loss journey, but I'm also training hard to be strong. And as Nick pointed out, those are actually performance-wise on different ends of the spectrum. And it's really easy to what I call white knuckle your weight loss. But like, Ben, you just said, I just got under 137 kilos again. Yeah. So, but like, let's experiment with a little more fuel. Let's come out of deficit for a week and see how you feel. You guys are all walking experiments. Nobody knows your experience but you. Nobody knows what that bar feels like but you. Nobody knows what it feels like to walk past the pantry or your kitchen door but you. So play with it And and I seconding Nick again, I see your performance. I see your submission videos. I've worked with you in person at Iron Ticket Day. The focus is there, but you've got to give yourself the support it needs to really train at the level that you're trying to go. And it feels counterintuitive, but it's very old-fashioned thinking. If I eat more, I will get fat. And that is not the case. Okay. It will not happen. And what's really cool, and this is going to be, I'm not trying to be silly, it takes a long time to get fat, guys. It takes some effort.
It does.
It
does.
Thank you, Ben. So if you change what you're doing for a week, it's not going to ruin what you've done, but let's explore what your body needs. And to Nick's point, I bet if you bring up your calories, and you can do that in the protein and carb category. Adam already mentioned number one source of fuel for our bodies are carbohydrates. So bring those two categories up. I even suggested to the girls that were nervous, I go, on the days that you're doing your bigger lifting sessions with us at Pump, add an extra serving of protein and carbs. See how you feel.
Sure.
I want to add to this because there are a couple things that I think are contextual and important for everyone. Well, and Ben, when you say your strength has been stuck, how long has your strength been stuck for?
Oh gosh, ages, weeks. I'm really struggling to push past
Weeks are
that
not
45.
weeks are not ages.
Many weeks, like close to months. So more towards months when I say weeks.
A few fortnights.
Yeah, because
there's many fortnights.
there are plateaus in strength too, you guys, and I don't want to lose the plot here that sometimes, right, you're going to go through phases where you're just not getting as strong, especially as you start to get stronger. There are going to be periods where strength don't get.
The thing is, I don't even feel like I'm particularly strong. That's the problem. It's things like shoulder press. I've been stuck at 45 kilos for a very long time, and to me, that feels like it should be moving much faster than that. Bench press, been stuck at about 80 kilos for quite a long time.
And which program are you on right now, Ben?
I repeat the foundation because I feel it works very well for my life.
It does. So a couple things, and then then we'll move on. One, sometimes it is as Nick was pointing out about a change of program because right we can get obsessed with the raw number or we can get obsessed with progress, right? And sometimes it is good to go through different phases of training where you're going to be building more capacity in different ways, and maybe the max lift won't increase, but your work capacity or the amount of volume that you can do will improve. And that still means that you are getting better, right? It's very easy to just obsess about a raw number as opposed to taking a comprehensive look at your overall fitness and what you're able to do. There's so many different ways that we can slice this onion to see progress. And especially when your primary goal is still getting that weight down, some of these other programs might even be more supplemental or complementary to what you're trying to accomplish, if for no other reason than it gives you a slight break from that program and it will allow you to go back with it right after have making progress in other ways. The other alternative here is that while you can play around with, increasing calories, what you can also do is play around with, right, the mix of where you get your calories from, right? Stealing a source of fat for an additional source of carbohydrate, right? Carbohydrate being a preferred form of fuel, or when you eat. As time has gone on, I continue to just eat a bigger and bigger and bigger breakfast. And this is for someone for like 6 years who was an intermittent faster. And it's because I have found that kind of front loading a lot of the carbohydrates, not that it's doing anything, in terms of like the total number of calories aren't changing, but it helps me feel better and more fueled and able to push myself harder when I train. So sometimes the first adjustment isn't necessarily having to eat more, especially if there's hesitancy around that. It's just looking at, when am I giving myself my fuel during the day? And is there a way to make certain adjustments, either with the type of foods that I'm eating or the quantity that I'm eating at one meal versus another, right? Rob from one meal to pay another one could make a difference in how you feel because it's just a manipulation of when that energy is being given to help you feel a little better. And that's what, there's research definitely behind that in terms of, the output of what people can do based on a pre-workout meal. So I think the couple things for you is knowing that plateaus will happen in strength. Sometimes it's a good thing to change up the program. And there are a lot of programs that in terms of fitting your lifestyle can have a similar number of days in a similar amount of time. And then it might be, making some adjustments from a dietary standpoint where you see, hey, if I eat slightly differently, say before a workout or after a workout, does that end up making a difference in terms of how I feel as an individual and the energy and the capacity that I have?
Sure. Okay. No, that all makes sense. I will have a play with the fueling pre-working out, seeing what I'm putting in, and I suppose I'll see where I can go from there. And if it's okay, I'll reach out and see if we can discuss it further if I'm still having problems.
I'll always reach out, and maybe it's worth us doing a series at some point about these plateau busters, because sometimes when people get stuck, we need to do something a little bit different to get out of those ruts, and that's where that's the joy of what we do, right? If it was always
Yeah.
just a linear
Yes.
path, it would be easier, and part of the struggle is what makes this fun.
Absolutely. That's it.
Brilliant.
Certain lifts are more frustrating, but thank you.
Yeah,
I'll
you're
make
gonna get through it, Ben.
I'll make a note of that for us, Adam. Let's take one more question. I know you've got hands up. This has been so amazing. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as we are. This has been like really cool. We'll do one more question, and then I'll let Nick take over with form checks, and because I know a lot of you are eager to go through those as well. So
And then
Ryan,
let me add one thing, Jen. If you guys had a
Yep.
question to ask, what we can do is you can throw them in the chat, and we can probably copy all these questions, and whether we end up saving them for future one, or I end up doing like an article and a post, and I can even divvy
Oh,
up. Jen can answer some, I can answer some, Nick can answer some, and we can turn that into an article where like these are just leftover questions. I'm very mindful that all of you have shown up here, and in an ideal world, we can do this for hours and hours and hours on end. Nick might, because Nick has got a no form checks left behind mantra, which we love about him. But I think if you showed up here and you had a question, I don't want you to be sitting there being like, man, I felt stuck. Throw your questions right in the chat, especially if it's something that's really holding you up, and we will make sure that we get these to you, and then we can just throw up an article where you'll see your answer among all of them. And I don't want anyone going home today feeling like we're not going to address what you showed up to discuss.
that's a great idea. So, Ryan, Tom, I'll have you ask your question live, but like Edward and Jerry and Roscoe and John, Johan, like please pop your questions in the chat, and Noah will capture all of them. And thank you for suggesting that, Adam. It's a great idea. We'll get to it all for you. Okay, Ryan, Tom, go ahead.
All right, thank you. I'll try and make this quick. So, been doing the program, low reps, high weight. The reps feel very deliberate. It's set, breathe, inhale, brace, lift, pause, repeat. Looking at doing the program where, like for bench, deadlift, squats, etc., we're looking at higher reps, 10, 12, 15, even 20 reps. What does like the bracing and the breathing look like on those? I'm assuming it's not as deliberate or slow, more speed work, but
it's going to be similar. It's going to get more deliberate the deeper you get into the set, because you're going to start hitting fatigue. So I would say like on a set of 20, like typically the first 10, you'll probably hit 3 to 4 reps under one breath, and then 3 to 4 reps, then 2, then 1, then 1, then 1. So the main thing is when we get lighter weight, I don't want people thinking it's lighter. And this is coming from someone who the worst I've hurt myself lifting was under warm-up weight. Because of that lack of deliberation. Is that a word?
I like it.
It is now.
We all like it.
It is.
Nick is king.
So with that being said, they still need to be very deliberate. Nothing should change. Just your breathing cadence. You can probably get through a few reps on one breath.
This is such an important point because I see it all the time. When people go through their warm-ups or their workup sets, and guys, we're so close to releasing the workup set update, so you can now add your workup sets. And this has been something I've wanted since for longer than I can tell you. But man, managing an app, you guys, it's there's a million things to always try and build. I watch people all the time give, zero fucks about their warm-up sets. And this is something, and I'll use him an example because he's not here to stand up for himself, but it's like we've seen Ketchel do it. I know that I've done it. Nick just pointed out the way you do all of your sets should be identical. right? Like there is a mastery in this movement and the tension that created, the way that you breathe. It was just like I remember when Ketch went to test, he didn't do as well. Nick was all over him because Ketch changed his setup. The guy practiced for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then showtime, and suddenly he's going down towards the bar and he's messing around, and everything that he had worked to get perfect, he messed around, right? It's like in sports, right? You play the way that you practice. Your workup sets, your warm-ups are your practice. There's force generation, there's power, there's speed, there's ability to feel just right because the weight is lighter. But the moment that you start breathing differently, tensing differently, holding things differently, is the moment that you are practicing something that is faulty, that's not going to pay off. And right, the idea of doing these different rep ranges is right, we're all trying to get you near this range of failure, right? Where we maximize tension to activate those motor units to get the most out of your muscle. And you can accomplish that, right, with higher weights, with lower weights, and it all just needs to be near failure. But if you're not taking the same approach, right, that's where things can go wrong. And we don't realize that like these lighter sets are truly the ability, the mental reps, the muscle memory, the neuro connections that you want to be able to move well so that things don't go bad under heavy load. You build that capacity by doing it really, really well under lighter load. So I wish people, and again, I've been guilty of it too. I have hurt myself doing the stupidest stuff ever, right? And it's because you're just like, oh, this is a walk on park, this is easy, or like it's not going to get hard until like rep 12. So like the first few reps, I should just be pumping out. No, like the more you learn to appreciate that craft, the stronger you get, the better the workouts are. And maybe most importantly, the less likely you are at getting hurt.
Bottom line is, if the weight is in movement, you're braced. You're not breathing. And stop.
There we go.
On
Right.
your main lifts.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Nick, we're going to hand it over to you. I did want to just mention, Roscoe, you commented here that you've got 1,000 days in the app. This wildly exceeded any of your expectations you had at the beginning. So for any new people here that are exactly where you were 1,000 days ago, I want you to just tee us off with a little like, group cheer, group focus perspective that you could offer someone that's this far in.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I don't think I'll ever get out of this app. This has been fantastic, and the longer I've stuck with it, the more results I've seen. I want to talk to Adam about approaching 60 and all the changes that he's mentioned that happened then, and having a strategy going forward so I can stay in this app another, hopefully 20 or 30 years beyond that.
Well, Arnold at 78 will tell you this. That's no problem.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I love that.
thanks.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And I love seeing it, and I'm happy to have that conversation. And it's why we do this. I think it's why we're all here. And it's the best part of this. Once it bites you, once you realize what you're capable of, I hate the hyperbole, but it's life changing. And I really hope that that's what everyone finds. So make sure you guys, if you have questions, please do throw them in the comments. We'll make sure we'll pull all of these and we will answer them, and we'll just turn it into an article. And our job here is to keep you guys moving forward. But I hope you all stay on here because I truly do think the best part of these is when Jen and Nick end up doing these form checks and dialing in. I love watching them because I'm still learning stuff. I mean, this is the highest level of coaching that you can possibly get. And as a coach myself, there's nothing better than learning from people like this. And you might not think you know something about a lift, and you watch this, and oh man, the cues and the tips are fantastic. So I'm even going to stay on for a little bit longer. I'm pushing off a call that I had because I haven't got to see Coach Nick live. I'm always watching on repeat. So I'm gonna toss it over to him.
Same boat. Okay, all you, Nick. Thank you, everybody. We love you so much.
All right, Noah, hit me with the form check, sir.
We good? We see?
You know it's cold when he's got the rubber palm gloves on. Yeah. It's cold in there, boy. These are good, Ben. The main thing that you're doing really, really well is you did it better. You're doing it better as you get deeper in the set. You're driving back towards the center of the top of your head. That is really good. So a strict press, what Ben actually does really well is the bar path. What I'd like to see, Ben, is you notice down at the bottom how your elbows are behind your wrists. We want
Yes, I start crumbling
we
like
want
that.
them
Yeah.
underneath, directly to our wrists, right? So our power is all in line. Does that make sense?
That's
It's a
one of the
super
ones that, of
simple,
course,
subtle cue.
that's one of the ones that I'm struggling with the most. I think that's only 40 kilos. I tried 45, and I just could barely move it. I had to lower down, and I'm there looking at it going, blasted thing.
What I want you to do now at that 40
Yeah.
kilos, because I'm assuming you're going to see it again.
Oh yes.
So at on the last rep, okay, let me ask you this. When you fail on the rep, where do you fail in the motion?
I tend to fail here, like right at the very bottom.
Okay, so on the last rep, when you're coming down, I want a 5 count eccentric. And then I want to, as long as possible, hold before you hit full bottom, like an inch before full bottom, till failure, fit on the last rep of each set.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. So when I'm thinking, yeah, this is the last one, because one of the last ones I put up here, I knew that it's not going to go up again. So control it on the way down more, and then hold it chin sort of level rather than taking it down all the way.
Yes.
Okay,
And
hold it as long as
it's going to be
possible.
everything you got to hold it there. But we're going to milk everything out of this 40 that we can to get you to 45.
I said, it's just that day, because I think I just finished a night shift. So I got in from work and I was like, no, we're doing this now because I'm not bloody waiting.
Good.
So maybe that was part of it. But yes, I'm quite keen on getting that resolved. I want to be getting that to proper weights, really.
Cool. So on all that barbell press work that we're doing, the last rep, I want a 5 count eccentric with a as long as possible hold on that last inch.
Okay, understood. Top man.
Next.
That's me again.
Yeah, deadlift.
Now this is another one that I've had some pain in the right side of my back. I don't know if it's a setup issue or anything else.
First of all, take the shit out of your pockets.
Again, I know. I thought about that afterwards. Actually, I did take them out for the last sets because I was catching them.
Yep.
But that's where I tended to get pain in my sort of right.
Run me back again, please. That's good. I mean, your setup and positioning overall looks good. I like it.
Okay, good.
Where I'm seeing something stand out is the middle of the rep. So go back to can you give me the second rep again, Noah? Right there. You start to get away from the bar, which means if you're further away from the bar, guess where you're going to feel it more?
Yeah, lower back.
Lower back.
Leverage.
So we need to keep your hips advancing to the bar. And again, it could have been you trying to get around whatever's in your pocket, but your leg drive started to peak too soon. So when that happens, your knees suck back, then you create space versus a nice vertical bar path within our best leverage. So to fix that, I want you to really be mindful of when I'm telling you to snap that bar, I want you to snap it around your body. So our lats are what's going to keep that bar together, close. Our legs start to lift, our butt and back finish. mainly our butt. And
Yes.
our butt just slides through pretty much just like a good morning. I mean, obviously it rises slightly with the leg drive, but you see how you kind of had to pop it through, how late your hips were getting through. It's because your leg drive started to finish too early, and then you stopped it, and then you popped your hips through right at the end, versus a nice gradual advancement to the bar.
Now that makes sense now that I'm looking at it while you're explaining it. Yes. Okay. So work on more in one motion.
Yes. And
Understood.
again,
definitely take stuff out
another
of the
thing I'd use to treat this is eccentrics on the way down. Why? Because
Yes.
gravity is going to always put you in line with a deadlift every single time. Your shoulders will be over the bar every single time on an eccentric because gravity is going to put you there. It's just the way of the world.
Yes, how it is. How it is. Right. Okay, great. Bloody hell, me again. This is what I was working on with Jen. Jen gave me some pointers to try and sort of help me move away from having to need to lift my heels, because I'm trying to overcome my poor mobility by shockingly improving my mobility.
I mean,
I've got
everything
a lot of
looks
ankle
sound.
issues. Yeah.
Recording in progress.
You're just pretty high. I'm hearing myself now. Why am I echoing? Okay, there we go. You're just a little high, especially on the first couple reps. I would love to see, if possible, I mean, even for a couple reps on your next squat, if you could just give me 1 or 2 reps, just for safety, 1 or 2 reps out of the set at a manageable weight, not necessarily your working set. If you could turn around and film from the front for me so I could see how your knees and I want to see what's happening in your feet.
Right. Okay, I can do that.
Because I've got the side
work with
info. I've got a pretty good picture there. I'd like to see what it looks like from the front to see where pressure's happening. So I want to be able to see your feet from basically to your chest.
Okay, I can definitely do that. I think
those are
I've
the
got
need to
squats coming up
knows.
soon. Understood. I would definitely do that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. These look really good. The elbows are stationary. I want to see you when it comes to anything tricep extension. So for those of you that are doing stuff that has the squat, bench, and deadlift, right? Assistance movements assist the main movers. Triceps assist our bench press. They finish the lift. So when you're doing this stuff, think about that intent. And what that is going to translate to is, Lisa, I'd love to see you kind of pause just for maybe a 1/1000 at the lockout and squeeze. So we're not snapping back. We are finishing and we're getting used to that squeeze as if we were, locking out a bench press or an overhead. Otherwise, these look great. Next. She wrote me a message in the thing about her weird goblet squat and how she's holding
I
it.
have carpal tunnel, so sometimes I can
Yes.
do it, and sometimes I can't.
All good. I'm okay with modification. And this works because honestly, that's where it would be if you were to hold it like this anyway. So I'm okay with this. These look good from the front. Knees are driving out. Mid weight looks over the middle of the foot. I don't see any ankles rolling around. I see a little bit of sag down in the bottom with the upper body where you kind of bring it back up. So I really want you to fight against that weight and keep that upper back tight. Don't think about squeezing with your arms. I want you to think about squeezing with your back. Because when you're underneath a squat bar in general, you actually want to squeeze with your back as well and drive into that bar.
Okay,
You're
thanks.
good though. These are great. Girl on the right, I don't know who's who. I apologize. Girl on the right, I think getting a little bit wider will make the folding much less prevalent. So what that is doing is it's creating space for your hips to be mobile. So we bring our femurs, right, our femur to our knee. We bring that out a little bit, and it allows our hips to do what they need to do to rotate in that plane. So when you're going down and you're kind of having to fold down into it, unlike the one on the left, you see from the waist up, she is pretty vertical. So if we widen our foot width a little bit, it will make you hitting depth much, much easier. You're almost in like a hack squat position, which isn't bad, but for a squat, like a goblet squat, we want to be able to track between our heels. Next. It was good. First thing that stands out, double overhand. You're severely limiting yourself here. Go over under, unless you're hook gripping, because your grip is going to be cooked. With about half the weight it would take with over under, because that bar is trying to spin. From this angle, everything looks pretty composed. I really don't want to work out some of the first reps of second set. I think you could probably push weight a little bit more here, man. The fact that you're double overhanding it and these reps are moving super easy, we need to get you into a realm of where, like, I'd like to see what comes out of a set where your last rep gets really hard and see what starts to fail, so we can kind of assess what we need to change or work on. With that being said, these are really sound right now. So good job. Okay. Okay. Fundamentally, I've got no issue with this. This is a really good basic level of a clean and press. He is neutral spine. I don't need him cleaning it. You guys will hear me say this. I don't need you having an Olympic level clean. This is safe. This is good. This is pretty efficient. In the realm of just a nutshell basic clean and press, without getting into the weeds here. Because there's elements like jumping and shrugging and all sorts of things in the rack position that are really, really in depth about a clean and press. And I'm not going to put you guys through that because we don't need it unless someone in here is really trying to get a high level clean. These are good. If you notice how the bar's not going out and around, he's snapping, he's kind of rotating underneath of it with his elbows. Bit pops right up. He's got good momentum. He's got good speed. He's accelerating the bar, and the bar just floats right on up to his front rack position, and he presses it up in the air. So Ken, these are good job. I'm liking these. Well done. Next. It's really easy to overcoach a clean and press, in my opinion, when it comes to it just being part of the workout versus a discipline you need to get really, really good at. So you're getting way on your toes. You see how the heels are coming up, Miss Bonnie. Everything is drifting forward as we're coming down, versus sitting back over our heels. We need to keep the weight mid-foot to heel on these, especially with heel elevation. The reason that's inhibiting your depth is because you're going forward. You're increasingly making the squat harder and harder to do as you get deeper and deeper. Because the weight, you see where you start to fold? That belly button is now behind the bar, which means the bar is now in front of your center line. The whole part of the different options in the rack position on a barbell squat creates different center points for essentially different torso lengths, which is why you'll see people with a longer torso low bar squat more often. High bar squat typically works good with long legs, short torso. And obviously there's nuances to that, but the goal is to get it as much over center to give you the most amount of leverage over the bar. With you drifting forward, it doesn't really matter because you're coming down and forward anyway. So I need you to reach back with that butt. I want you to break at the hips before you break at the knees from now on. And then sit. Keep your heels loaded. If you feel your heels light, sit back. And there's methods we can do this. We can do this overhead squatting with like PVC pipe to really emphasize that. But I know you are interested in competing. So we need to get you really sitting back and trusting your legs. I've seen you deadlift. Your legs are strong. It's not a strength issue. It's a movement issue. And we'll fix it. So let's get you sitting back. Keep driving your back into that bar. Trust your legs. Brace into that belt. Next. These are just leg raises. Yeah, that's really good tempo. These are pretty straightforward. The straighter you make your legs, the more difficult it is. It's like an adjustable exercise in and of itself with body weight, all depending on how bent your knees are. These are good. I like the tempo. I like the control. Good job. Next. Nice.
Again.
Okay, so these are what I gave Andres for everyone for context. These are for physical feedback into neutralizing the spine. We're doing cat-cow to use hyperextension as a marker to rotating that pelvis. So when we push our belly button to the floor and arch our back to create that hyperextension, that is anterior tilt, flexion. And look, your back's flatter.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but it's getting better. This is going to be very incremental. This is going to be over time.
Yep.
So it's doing what we want it to do. Now, when you apply it into the bar, it needs to be an active application. It's not a passive thing. Not yet.
Okay.
So what I want you to do is when you snap the bar and break the bar and create that lat tension, I want you to snap it and push your chest and belly out to the floor.
Okay, so
Not pull, but
just like
here. Think about taking my shoulders and sliding them down my body.
Okay, so like something.
No,
okay,
you're
I'll
going
try.
back. So
Okay.
if we're in the deadlift plane and I'm bent over, I'm not going here. I'm going. I'm closing my elbows.
Okay, so
like you have a twig out in front of you and you're trying to snap it.
Okay, like all right, kind of like all right, okay.
When you do that, squeeze with everything, your back, your and brace. And when you do that snapping motion, push, get in that cow position. That's where you're gonna find that flat position.
Okay, I got it. So like break it like this.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll try that then. Thanks.
Good job. Next. The side by sides. I'm loving these. Is it a picture?
Yeah, this is from last time, and this is left side is Sunday, right side is today.
Okay. Very similar.
Yeah, I wanted to ask if today is maybe a bit better. I saw like
What you're
a
doing
little
a
bit
little
less.
bit better is
Yeah.
you have a little bit more stability in the hole.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask for this because on Sunday I was doing my workup set and I could go up to 60 kilos. Before last time I had 70. And I'm not sure if it was, and today I could go higher. I did my first set 65, this set, which you see is 60 kilos. And I'm not sure if the difference between like last time when I had the form check and like Sunday was that big because I slept worse before the day before,
Sleep's a big
or
factor.
or whether it's also that I'm still learning, so the difference is that much higher on bad days, I guess.
Yeah. So when you're learning a new movement pattern, the differences in how you move are going to have bigger inputs than when you're, let's say you've got it ingrained because the differences of the movement are bigger. When you get out of groove on a squat when you're learning to move, getting out of groove is much more of a drastic thing because we haven't figured out the control of it yet. Versus getting out of your groove at a higher level, it's much more subtler, but you notice it because your body knows where it's supposed to be. So yes, you might see a drastic change, especially if sleep was a factor.
Yeah, because I was surprised that I couldn't even like work up to like even 3 reps on the 70, and even today I wasn't like as well as last time, but it was much better already.
Yeah, I mean, it's overall looking much better. Your stability in the hole, I believe that is something we talked about.
Yeah, I was go toe heavy last time.
You're trending in the right direction. And
Okay.
that's good that you had that thought to be like, could have been my sleep and the way I'm moving. Those are all good thoughts to have in this learning process.
Okay, thank you.
Well done. Next. Benoit. I'm going to comment the back position on Benoit. This was a place we couldn't even get to with RDLs and deadlifts, and now he's executing with a nice neutral lumbar on his dumbbell rows. So you can see how that carries over into so many other things, being able to neutralize your spine in the lifting world. Well done. I like these. Benoit, I've made heaps of progress in your position. Next. Goblet squat. I'd like to see you keep that chest nice and proud. Get that dumbbell closer. Because you see the collapsing up top generates an overall curve in the back and in the lumbar. So we should be squatting from the hips down the same exact cues that we get with a back squat. So the same things you've been doing with your back squat, I want you to apply to your goblet. Next. Bent over row. Picks up with great deadlift form. Love that. Starts at the top. Down into position. Absolutely dialed, my dude.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick.
Yes, sir. This is a very strict bent over row. That was pretty.
Great. Thanks. Yeah, I've been working on limiting the flexion in my back. So
You nailed it there. That was nice and neutral.
awesome.
Look at that.
Thank you.
Boom. Good job. Love it.
Thanks.
Oh, can't load file. Yes, I remember this. Talking about speeding up the bar.
Yeah, this time the newer video is on the left. The older is on the right.
Look at the difference. Dear Lord.
Well, honestly, I also had to drop 10 kilos here because I also
that's
had
fine,
poor sleep.
but the intention's there. The speed's there. Before you know it, you'll be doing it with that weight you had on the right.
Okay.
Good job.
Anything else I should change?
No, I want you to keep working on everything we've been focusing on. I don't want to feed you with a fire hose. So this is all clicking. This is good. Let's keep it clicking for a few weeks and then see where we're at.
Okay, thank you.
Nice job. Next. Decline, push up. Lower. I want to see those shoulders break the elbow line. Otherwise, your position looks good. Just lower. Next. Yep. Next. Romanian deadlift. These are pretty good. I'd like to see a little bit more rigid in the lumbar. But these are coming together. These are looking good. The hips are gliding back and forth. I really want you to squeeze your butt really, really hard. The RDL, some slight bend in the knee. This is good. I want you to brace really, really hard. Create a lot of internal pressure to keep that midsection rigid. Because if you look, you go down rigid, when you change direction, there's some slight flexion on the way up, which is common. Active bracing. Next. Elise Barbell Row. Elise, let's get a little bit more bent over. And we want bar path to be more towards your belly button. And you're doing kind of like a bent over high pull versus a bent over row. So if we get more bent over and we row it more towards that midsection and less to the chest line, that's going to be much more where we want to be. We'll get more of the lat, the meat of that lat involved versus the rear delts and upper back. Subtle change, nothing crazy. Next. I'm watching a shadow deadlift. That's are these RDLs, stiff leg deadlifts, I'm assuming? So the leaning back at the top's doing nothing. It means we're trying to live with our back instead of our glutes and hips. You see how the hips don't really move all that much till the ladder, the back end of that set, because we are using our back. We're not pushing our butt out behind us, keeping that bar close. So I want you to keep that bar. I want you to deadlift it up in a standard deadlift position, perfect position. Just come all the way up, then enter your RDL from there, keeping that back nice and neutral. Same cues you heard me give before. But I really need to see those hips gliding back and forth. The leaning back and forward is you're working your back out, that's for sure, but it's going to severely limit the effectiveness on the target here, which is the glutes and the hamstrings. Next. Beautiful rack position. Chin's tucked back, shoulders are high, elbows are high. Beautiful. Well done, Ian. Burying them too. Next.
It's the first
These
time
are
I've ever done
great.
them, so pleased to get the feedback.
Those are pretty, man. Good job. I love that rack position.
The only
That's
thing I found, Nick, was towards the end, I felt like I was choking myself.
a little bit.
while I was right in my neck. Is
Yeah,
that
it's a sweet
normal?
spot from like choking and passing out to bar falling off the front of you. It's the, yep.
All right, thanks.
Yes, sir. Next. That looks pretty good. Got to get down there, Sandra.
Okay.
Trust your legs. Everything looks pretty good. You kept those elbows pretty high. The rack position looked fairly solid. I didn't see that bar moving around. But
Can
sit
you
down.
look at it with the dumbbells too?
Yes. Same thing. Get
Okay.
down there. Get used to. I always tell people when you're learning depth, go lower than you think you need to.
Okay.
That's usually where you want to be. Everything you're moving well. We just need to get you deeper.
Keep fighting. Thanks.
Yes. The high pulls. Seems to be a very trendy one I get now.
Well, this is my first time doing these as well, Nick, and these are a lot messier than the front squats.
They're actually not.
I felt like I was almost losing balance at the top, though.
Yeah, because your hips are. I would love to see these from. Oh, there you go. Got a little wonky there. But it looks like you're coming up off the ground slightly a little bit on the first couple reps, which is good. I want that nice explosive input. You control it down, you get down to where your starting position is, and then you fire. If you could send me that from the side, I could get a little bit more info.
Okay.
But I like where you're landing with your bar path. You're keeping it close. Your elbows are staying up and they're not rotating under, they're staying up and back. You're doing a lot of things right, whether it was instinctively or from watching things. So let's look at it from the side and we can polish that up.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Well done. Next. Oh, right into another one. So this is like a strict high
I
pull.
just started the same program.
So you're seeing two different variations of a high pull. Now, is Adam still on here? No,
I don't
nerd.
think so.
So now, depending on the application, there's a place for both. This is very strict. This is going to hit those rear delts, those shoulder caps. Whereas the explosive high pull is going to hit a lot of the posterior chain and generate power. So you're doing the Strickland's good.
This was first time I've ever done this.
Yeah. Do you want to learn to do the full like blown high pull?
What the hell? Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So if you saw what Ian did, where I always teach stuff like this from the top down because it's just easier once you'll know what to do with the bar when you enter a full range of motion. So do you know what hang clean position is?
I
at
think
or
so.
just above the knee?
Okay, no, then I don't.
So you kind of fold over like you're going to stiff leg deadlift or
Okay.
RDL actually with some leg bend, and you stop right at or right above your kneecap, and then you push the ground away, fire onto your toes, and drive that bar to the sky. We don't rotate under. You finish the same place you're finishing here, but you add an explosive full body element to it.
Okay.
And the main thing there is triple extension. Hips extended through on your toes, peak, and then you come down and you kind of catch it and arrest it. So it's not going to be crazy heavy. Do it with you're going to need some weight to even learn it, because if you do it with a PVC pipe or something too light, it's it feels weird.
Okay.
You need the counterweight, I think. Next.
Thanks, Nick.
Yes, ma'am. Trap bar deadlift. Shoulders. That was a little bit better than last time. We didn't get as much sway. Yeah.
I was working on trying to be a little more upright from the last time.
I mean, it's good. We don't necessarily want too upright because then we lose the main driving from the trap bar. You can afford to be more quad dominant on this because of it's a neutral pull, meaning the bar's not out in front of you. But we don't want to get too upright on this because we want our glutes and hamstrings. So the position you come down in here, that's where I want you to be. That rep was the best one. That was beautiful. And then you kind of sag a little bit in the hips, but you're flirting with right where you want to be. I would argue don't drop your hips any more than they are now. You don't need to be any more upright because then it'll be all quads and you'll lose that glute and hip drive.
Okay.
So overall, this is looking really, really good. Keep working it there and see what happens when we start to get up to weight that causes you to struggle.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yes,
Thanks.
ma'am. Well done.
Oh, this is actually a squat.
No worries. I was like, this don't look like a deadlift.
They all kind of look at like the same thing.
Nice job. A little bit of forward travel, but it's due to you starting to fold there at the bottom. Where's your foot with that? Is it at your shoulders? Is it outside your shoulders?
I think it's right below.
I would like to see you widen your foot width, maybe a half step.
I think that would be
Point
more
your
comfortable.
toes out at a 45. I think that might give us a little bit more ease getting down there with some potentially less folding. And if that doesn't work, elevate your heels a little bit.
Okay. So you're saying like move the toes out to 45?
Yep. Turn your toes out to 45. Take a half step out with each foot.
Okay.
Because it looks like you're squatting pretty narrow.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Hard to
Thank
tell
you.
from here, but yes. Otherwise, your squat looks pretty damn good.
Oh, good. Well, thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, Doug. No sound on the group. Apologies.
The hooks.
Yeah, I was asking about those hooks. I have back issues, and when I started using the hooks, it lets me focus on my form, where typically my grip strength is would give out before my form, and so I was curious of the opinion on the hooks as well.
Never used them. I think the hooks are actually supposed to face your hand. So the opening of the hook goes into your hand and you come in from the front.
Right.
Or so lumbar flexion. Your bar path and movement pattern is good. We need to get that spine neutral, especially on this lift.
Okay.
No more out of rack. I want you to deadlift it and start from the top.
Okay.
So deadlift, perfect deadlift form, standard deadlift, pick it up, start at the top, brace, down. And I really want you to focus on pushing that belly button out, turning your hips down so you turn your tailbone to the sky.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. Tailbone to the, yes, that does.
Yep. I want you to focus on that. And then when you brace and you pushing those hips back and you're letting that tailbone turn to the sky, then you squeeze your butt and fire those hips through.
Okay.
You're like 90% got it. It's just that last little 10% will make it perfect.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And
Good
yeah,
job.
I'll definitely start going from the ground. It just makes
Anything in the
moving
deadlift plane?
plates on it and off so much easier if I'm when it's up there. But yeah, thank you. That's a very
What
good
I
point.
do, food for thought, is I'll go get little 5-pound metal plates, and I've got
Yeah.
when I go on 45s, I just roll it on the innermost plate onto the 5-pound, and it picks up the rest of the plate stack off the floor, and then I can just slide them on.
Awesome. I think I have a deadlift on here too, which I typically use the trap bar for my deadlifts, again for my back. But
Yep. Go ahead, Noah. This is the position I was talking about. Rory is executing this perfectly. You see how the hips fire, smash through that bar. She's giving and she's new. The most impressive thing about this is Rory is new to a barbell, and this is a textbook stiff leg / RDL, whatever you want to call it. I don't really care if her legs are stiff or if it's movement RDL. Her position is gorgeous.
Yay. So I uploaded both so you could see the difference, because I think in my head, that was my biggest thing. I was struggling with the difference between the two.
Yeah, the stiff
The
leg,
next
your
video-
legs are stiffer. RDL is like somewhere between a stiff leg deadlift and a conventional deadlift is how I simplify it for people.
Okay.
Whether you're doing a true one or the other, I don't care. Because they're just two paths to a very similar end. One just hits more hamstrings, one hits a little more glutes. Doesn't really matter. It's not something I'm going to stress over with all of you, because I think it would just be over coaching. If you want to learn the difference, sure, tell me that.
I do.
Yeah, so
That's
it's
why-
literally
that's
a
why-
matter of
yeah.
having a little less knee bend than you have now would make that a true stiff leg deadlift. You don't need
Okay.
to be lock straight, but it's very subtle bend. Soft knees. That's closer to you're flirting with RDL.
Okay, so then I think that's where my biggest confusion is. I thought stiff leg and RDL were the same thing.
They're technically not.
Oh.
RDL is more leg bend than a stiff leg, but less leg drive than a regular deadlift.
So there's 3. See, all this time I've been thinking, and this could be because I started out with dumbbells. I thought the stiff leg and the RDL were the same position, and then a deadlift is where you're dropping your butt.
If we want to be correct, there's you have the stiff leg deadlift, the RDL, and the deadlift.
Okay.
I don't harp on it in here because you guys are trying to learn so many things. Unless you actively go, hey, what's the difference? I'll answer that question. Sure, no problem. But I'm more focused on you guys getting a correct hinge pattern. I don't care what plane it is when it comes to the RDL or the SDL. As
Right,
long as
because-
your hinge pattern looks like that, don't care.
If the hinge is off, then you're truly not working.
If the hinge is off on one of them, odds are your hinge is off on all of them. That's why I do it that way.
And you're truly losing the point of the movement if you're not getting your hinge.
Correct. Did you feel that in your glutes when you like fired through and you squeezed?
Yeah, this one felt awesome.
Yeah, I bet it did. It looks awesome.
So the next video, if Noah's ready to go to it,
Go ahead,
was then what I thought I was doing. Okay, he missed it. There should be back to back. Maybe it's lost in the shuffle. So if you need to move on, you can. But so that's what I did. I posted that one, and then I posted what I thought is the deadlift as far as what's in my plan. And with the deadlift, that's where I'm dropping my butt more.
You know what? If it's not on there, re-upload it, because what's going to happen is this weekend I'm going to go through.
Oh, this is it.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So right here, I don't know if you can catch it. After I put my hands down, I'm trying to put my tailbone in the right spot because I feel like my tailbone was hindering me from getting the right drop.
Now,
but I
for
still
my
feel like
clarity, what is this supposed to be?
This is supposed to be a deadlift.
Bring your feet in closer to the position you had them for the RDLs and SDLs. You're not that tall to be that wide.
Okay. I'm 5'6".
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no way you should be deadlifting like Brian Shaw.
Okay.
He's
So
6'8".
where I felt good in my stiff, I still feel like I'm not dropping my butt enough on a deadlift.
That's because you're so wide. You can't.
Okay.
That your foot position is what's breaking, making that all feel weird.
Okay.
I want you to set up your deadlift the way you set up your stiff leg deadlift, but
okay.
Use your leg drive.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You think too much.
I know. I'm working on it. I'm working on it, Nick.
Took to the barbell like a fish to water, and she's out here overthinking shit. Chris, these are lovely. Firing through with the hips. Beautiful leg drive. Good hip position. He's even got the deadlift shoes. Those are super popular. Not a necessary thing, but people love them. Chris, I got nothing for you. I don't want to change this. I love how this is looking. I'm gonna see this build. Well done. Next. Wait, go back to Chris's? Sorry. Okay, it was just an optical illusion. Next. That was pretty good, John. A little bit inflection. But I want you to push that belly button to the floor when you brace. That same cue you heard me giving earlier with the timing of packing the lats. I forget who I was talking to, God damn it. Packing the lats and pushing that belly button out to the floor. I'm thinking when you get some real weight on the bar, that hip position might be a little low for you. But we'll see when you add some weight. Otherwise, the movement is good. The hips glide through. I just like to see a little bit more neutral in the back, in the lumbar. I'm okay with some of that flexion in the upper back. That's our erectors are there to help. Next. He's far away. Guillermo. Whole lot of deadlifting today. Love it. Guillermo has exceptional mobility. This is a really good RDL. Almost an SDL with full range of motion to the floor, which is incredible.
It was supposed to be a normal deadlift.
You well, you put on a clinic on how to RDL. Use your legs, Guillermo, which means you're gonna have to drop your hips, and get some bend in those knees. But from the hips up, that back position, that neutral spine is outstanding. This is a beautiful RDL. So we just need to drop our hips and get some leg drive. I want you to start your deadlift by not a hinge, by pushing the ground away with your legs.
Okay.
Don't think about picking it up. I want you to think about pushing the earth out from underneath you with your feet.
I got it. And
You've already
basically,
shown me you can get in position. Let's see it with a lower hip angle to get more legs.
got it. And
All right.
there's one thing, I guess, from being that tiny, you can really see it, but I was seeing it, my toes wiggle up a little. So when I shift my hips
Yes,
back
it's
to launch
because
it,
you're pushing your hips back in an RDL position, so your weight is way over your heels, which is how it's supposed to be for an RDL. You're going to be somewhere between heel and center foot on a regular deadlift. We don't want toes. If your toes wiggle, that's fine. Don't care. I can wiggle my toes on my deadlift.
got it. Thank you.
But when you drive on a traditional deadlift, you're going to feel your feet grab the floor.
Right. Hips down.
Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next. I've never seen someone accidentally do an RDL so well. We got some incline bench press. I'm doing a shit ton of these right now as we speak with like 60 degrees. I enjoy incline. It's probably my favorite bench press variation. Yes. Bar path, driving back up towards his face. I'd like to see you get a little bit lower if your mobility allows it. That's the only thing. Otherwise, I love how you're bracing, your back's tight. I just would like to see a little bit more range of motion out of that. Next. Zach, you're built like an athlete, my man. We get you into a strength sport. I hate that you strapped an underhand. That bothers me. I don't know why. Ooh, hip shot way up. Okay. All right. No more touch and go for you. I love the effort. You're moving some solid weight here. But we need to get your position dialed in here, my dude. You're strong. We need to get you strong in the right direction. And this, see that left bicep, the arm closest towards us? This is why I don't like when people strap in underhand. The way you're pulling on that bar, it's not a matter if you tear your bicep, it's a matter of when you tear your bicep, especially with a strap. Reason being is you're trying to pull with your arm, which you're not curling that weight. It's just not happening. So it's going to get to a point where our elbow angle is going to get too great and the weight's not going to let go and the strap's not going to let go, which means it's your bicep that's going to let go. So if you strap in, do double overhand. If you don't want to use straps, go over under. Keep those arms straight. Snap the bar. We don't want to pull it in with our biceps. Your hips shooting up. Why that first rep was so incredibly hard. You put in leg drive, your hips kicked up, your brace gave, and it put you over the bar, which put you out of it. It gave the leverage back to the weight. The weight was out leveraging you versus you it. So I would like to see a little bit of, I'd like to see some weight off the bar and let's get your position absolutely dialed and work your high effort within a realm of perfection. So when you do send it on the grinder reps, you're in a much better position and you can afford the flexion. What I mean by that is, example, I train in a realm of perfection on my deadlift and training. So when I compete, it's going to get ugly, but my back's healthy, my back's strong. I can afford that flexion. So we need to get our back strong in proper position to then apply it to something like this. Next. We've been working on Tish's positioning, getting her used to getting in that deadlift position. There's the cat, there's the cow. Lovely. Nailed it, Tish. This is the week you got it. Now, I need you to stand all the way up and finish the rep. You started so strong. For stiff leg deadlifts, I love how you deadlifted the bar on the first rep. But when you're not standing all the way up, you're doing half of a rep each time. So on a stiff leg deadlift, stand up with the bar. You're all the way stood up, completely vertical, hips underneath your shoulders. You're going to then brace again, and you're going to come down and then up. You're going to start your stiff leg deadlift from the top. Again, when you watch this video, if you want reference, go back to Rory's video with positioning. I would use that for a PowerPoint presentation. That was beautiful. So or Guillermo's RDL, another beautiful set. I need you to stand all the way up so your hips come through. And re-brace at the top down. That off the floor, that was perfect. That was a great conventional deadlift until you didn't finish the rep. So we're piecing it together. We're getting there. Your start positioning's looking incredible. We just need to get you doing the actual rep. Next. These are the cat-cows. So again, we can see how she's been practicing these and it transferred into her actual setup and it worked because she had that physical feedback. So Tish, when you go into, so this is the cow, that's the cat. When you go into your flexion, which would be the cat, flexion is rounded back. Hyperextension is when she's doing that position right there. So when you go into flexion, I want you to try and curl your hips underneath of you to exaggerate a little bit so we get that stretch. Your extension is great. So good job there. This is why your deadlift position responded so well to this, because your hyperextension is really good, which is a good thing. Next. No, I got time for a couple more. Then I've got to go train, and then I got to go because I got to coach at the high school. I volunteer. My best friend in 7th grade is the varsity baseball coach, so I do all of their spring camp strength training. Something I do for fun. They're good kids. Couple idiots, but
you want to get to 50 and then just call it at 50?
Yeah, let's get to 50.
Okay.
And then you can teach me how to Zoom myself. And
yeah, I'll write a document for that, so it'll be easy. But you can also call me.
Cool. All right, let's see what Chris just did here. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Four, 455, 75. He's got solid weight on the bar. Chris, that was a solid pull. Our hips were a little low, which is why they picked up out of the hole, which means your hips got into position for your leg drive. That was a solid high effort pull, my man. Which things, aren't always perfect at high effort, but that overall was very well done. Let's get your hips a little bit higher in that starting position so your leg drive's immediate and you don't pitch forward. Otherwise, that was really good. Nice job. Next. It's so satisfying when a heavy pull comes together. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 500 on the bar. Is this a PR? I wish he was here. Show me something, Chris. Show me something. Yes, yes, yes. God damn it. Oh man, you're right there. You can smell 500, bro. You're right there. Your hip position actually did less kicking up on that pull. So that's a good sign. You're right there, man. It's nose to the grindstone, another training block, and you're probably pulling 500. I mean, I could smell it for you, man. Like, I'm gonna watch it one more time. Oh, he's right freaking there. All right, so your rack pulls, I want to be in that dead zone. If you have rack pulls in whatever program you got coming up, I want them in that mid shin. We want to learn to generate power to accelerate from that dead zone. We have a weak point. We've identified it. Let's hammer the shit out of it so you smoke 500. Next. That gets me excited. These are actually pretty cool row machines. Charlie, these are good. I want you to slow down the down part, the eccentric a little bit, so it doesn't pull you as much forward, but you have a nice strong pull. You have a nice strong concentric. I want to keep that. Let's slow down the eccentric and keep that nice strong pull. Well done. Next. What do we got here? A high pull, maybe? Yes. These are good. He's doing looks like pretty heavy for him, but he's got great explosion. His timing's just a little off. He starts his row. He starts the pull before he starts the up. So, Jason, I want you to initiate it with nice body tension. We don't want you to start the extension with soft arms. I want you to drive really hard with your legs and then build the momentum. Capitalize on the momentum with your upper body. So be a little bit more patient. Your timing's, you've got good extension. Your timing's just a little off. That's it with when you start pulling on the bar with your arms. Next. Jeff. Jeff is preparing for World's Strongest Firefighter. I've been helping him with this prep. So a lot of this I've already coached him on. I've already seen some of these videos, I think. We're going to work on this right here. See how he presses out with the dumbbell? A circus dumbbell, you need to press over your head. A circus dumbbell has virtually no margin for error because it's such a big, cumbersome implement. His log clean, we're getting him more to roll the log up his body versus clean it like a barbell. So he's coming. I'm excited for his videos next week to see what they look like after I've given him those cues. But yeah, that press, that elbow needs to stay high and it needs to go over your head. You cannot press a circus dumbbell out and around. It won't go. Even at 50%. And that's what makes that lift unique. This clean, his cleans are getting better. The video he sent a couple days ago looked really, really well. We need to actually keep that bar glued and then roll it up your body and get a nice high rack position. So when you leg drive, it doesn't sag. Next. jerked. That's really the only thing that worked against you there. So Shawn, from now on, all your deadlifts were no more. These are touch and goes. We need to work on your static pull off the floor, which is the first rep. So, every rep you come to a dead stop. Right pull. You had good positioning. The only thing you did that worked against you is right here. You jerked on the bar. Pow. And you pulled all that brace you just fought to get, you just pulled out. So what jerking does, you see some high level lifters do it, but they have an incredibly strong posterior chain. So when they jerk on that bar, it doesn't pull them out. Your best deadlifters in the world don't jerk on the bar. So I'll just say that.
Okay.
And what that does is when we have a hard input without jerking, it gives our body time to react to the weight and create the tension. So we create tension in the brace, snap in the bar, push the ground away, come up off the floor without jerking up and back and pulling through our lumbar.
Okay.
It gives your body time to load and then accelerate. So we're not going to get instantaneous acceleration. We're going to brake and then accelerate once it's moving. So be a little bit more patient. Have a hard input, but don't jerk on the bar. Think about just pushing the ground away. Don't think about pulling it.
Okay.
Because we want to keep that brace pushing out into that belt. You've got a strong deadlift, and there's honestly more weight on the table without the jerk for you. I truly believe that.
Awesome.
So main thing right now is be patient off the floor. Let's build within a patient pull and then add the power. So it breaks and then accelerate. So what I want you to do, actually, here's your homework. 1-inch pauses off the floor. So you're going to break off the floor, pause, 1,002, finish the deadlift. All your deadlift working sets. How many days a week are you deadlifting right now?
Right now, I'm back in I think it's the fundamental, which is have 6 workouts a week, and I think deadlift's only twice and it's the same day as the bench. And I think I'm doing like 3 sets. It's starting at like 10 or 8, 6, and 4.
So on your main deadlift days, I want you to do the pauses.
Okay.
I'm assuming one's a lighter day.
I think so. I kind of just started this program a few weeks back, so I'm still kind of getting in the rhythm of seeing what's in it.
On the main deadlift day, we're doing the pauses. On the secondary deadlift day, we're doing a 4-count eccentric.
4-count eccentric. Okay.
Yep. All right.
Thanks for the tips, Nick, and thanks for the feedback. I really appreciate it.
Always. We'll get you there, my man.
Awesome.
April. Here we go. Ooh. I want to take note. Look at this. This is what I want. So pause it right now. Can you pause it? Or not? Noah?
No, sorry. What part of the lift?
Right before she pulls.
Okay.
So right, a little bit more. A little bit more. There. Look how her shoulder is directly over the end of that barbell. So that means that bar is going to come straight up off the ground. And that is what we would call optimal. There's going to be no deviation. The bar can't swing in. The bar can't swing out. It's going to go straight up. Now play. Hips rise a little bit. It's okay. What I want from April to improve on, April, you had a soft lockout. Your hips didn't come all the way through. I want you, once that bar starts moving, I want you to think accelerate, accelerate, accelerate. Speed up the bar, even on the heaviest of your heaviest lifts. Because when you start coming through with the hips, I want them to come through violently and ensure your hips are underneath your shoulders. Everything else, your setup, everything looks great. You had a little bit of hip rise out of the hole, not the end of the world. You know to keep working on that hip position. We don't need to keep ingraining that. You've made incredible progress there. I need your hips to accelerate with a vengeance into the bar so we complete the lockout. Next. Let's see what it looks like here. A little bit more up. Yep, heavy. She was thinking. I could see it. Her setup took way longer. All right. Doesn't really change the cues that much. A little bit overthinking on that rep. It was heavy. But she did a really good job. Just needs to finish that lockout. A nice hard lockout. We'll call it there. I will do the rest of the 34 this weekend. I've got to get moving. Thank you guys. Anybody have any questions closing out? No? All right. Well, I will catch you guys at some point next week when Jen and I figure out what day she wants, and then I'll go from there. I love seeing that there's this many submissions that people want to improve. So this is really, really good. Really beautiful, some really beautiful RDLs and deadlifts today. So this it's really good to see all of you guys improving and knowing that this is actually working. So again, as long as you guys show up, I'll keep showing up. So well done. Catch you guys next week.
Thanks.
Many thanks, Nick. Just one question. How do we get the offline feedbacks?
How do we get the what?
The offline feedbacks. You're saying you're checking the 35 videos.
Oh,
he will post it on the YouTube.
Yeah. So
okay, cool.
Plays are going to go on YouTube. Every time we do a form check, we'll put that on
Yeah.
YouTube. So yeah, just check our YouTube.
Thanks. Cool.
Yep. See you guys.
Bye-bye. Bye.